Chazak u'Baruch. Good morning, Morai ve'Rabotai. Today's learning is the Ilui Nishmat Gavir Peter ben Brucha ve'Lichvod Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, sponsored by Emmanuel Shemanov, as well as the learning is the health of Shlom Bayit and Panasav, the Garbuski family, sponsored by Shalom Tzvi ben Krindal and Liat Bat Hana. Further sponsorships, please contact Rabbi Babayev. Hayom Shelosha u'Shloshim Yom LaOmer Shem Arba'a Shavuot v'Chamisha Yamim. And Mincha Be'ezrat Hashem is going to be 7:40. Be'ezrat Hashem is Mincha. The halacha that we were discussing 2 days ago, we mentioned that if a person extinguishes for the sake of the coal, then that's called a melacha deoraita. However, if he's just extinguishing to save and to not have light, that's considered a melacha derabanan. The Gemara talks about an interesting case. What happens if you have a coal that is out of metal? What does it mean, a coal out of metal? And especially in the Gemara's time, sometimes they would use metal as a conductor. So they would heat it up to such an extent that it would actually glow. And the Gemara says when you heat up metal to the point that it glows, it's like you're lighting a fire. It's the equivalent of lighting a fire, which is the same thing as the old light bulbs that had a filament. That filament, if you looked carefully at the old light bulbs, there was a metal wire that would glow. And that really was the Torah Melacha, because the Gemara talks about a metal that glows is considered a fire. What about extinguishing it? If a person pours water, douses water on it, that is only a Isur Derabanan. And the reason is because it's called Gachelet Shel Matechet. In order for something to be a Torah violation of extinguishing, even if it's for a constructive purpose, the only way it could be a Torah violation if it has pecham, if it has the soot, if it has the remnants of a fire. But if it's going to look the same way that it was before, like metal, when you extinguish it, before you lit it and after you extinguish it, it looks exactly the same. It's not like wood that when you light it on fire and then you extinguish it, you get soot. But in a metal, you don't get anything. And therefore, that's considered to be a rabbinic fire. That's called Gachelet Shel Matechet. And this applies to essentially all the technology of today. Will never be an extinguishing that's deoraita, because it will fall into this category. Essentially, anything that's electric, if you turn off a light bulb, if you turn off a gas stovetop, if you turn off an electric stovetop, all of those are going to be violations on a rabbinic level and not on a Torah level, at the very least, because it's Gachelet Shel Matechet. You could argue it's also not a constructive purpose. You could argue that. But at the very least, it's Gachelet Shel Matechet, and therefore all the Rishonim and all the Amoraim Tanaim themselves would agree that that is going to be a violation of only a rabbinic violation, not a Torah violation. And again, I want to stress that a rabbinic violation is just as asur as a Torah violation, but we will go forward and progress and see that there are certain leniencies that we would allow for rabbinic violations that we wouldn't otherwise allow for Torah violations. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.